The assassin lands in the dark. The night sky was quiet. Stars blinked like small lights above a deep forest. But one star was not normal. It moved fast, growing brighter, until it shot across the sky and vanished behind the trees. It wasn't a star. It was a ship. The black, silent craft landed softly in a clearing far from any city. No lights, no noise, just shadows. A tall figure stepped out, covered in dark armor. Her skin glowed faintly under the moon. Sharp eyes, silver hair, and a blade on her back. She was not human. She was an assassin. Her name was Zeyla, trained by the Zeravian Empire since childhood. Cold, fast, deadly. She had killed many before, never missed a target. This time, her mission was on Earth. She opened her holopad and stared at the face of her next kill. A human male named Daniel Rook. The file said, "Exterminate. Dangerous. High threat to the Empire." But there was no reason given. That was strange. Usually, the Empire gave full reports, but Zeyla did not ask questions. She followed orders. Still, something felt wrong. He didn't look dangerous. His profile showed a man living alone in the forest. No weapons. No known crimes. Just a man with a beard, some books, and a cabin. Zeyla activated her cloak and disappeared into the trees. From the shadows, she watched him. Daniel was outside, sitting near a fire pit, boiling water for tea. He looked calm. He fed a rabbit that hopped close. He smiled gently. No guards, no security drones. Just a man, living simply. Zeyla narrowed her eyes. This was too easy. She moved around the cabin silently, scanning everything. Solar panels, gardening tools, books on alien cultures. One book caught her attention, Languages of the Lost Worlds. How did a human get that? It was banned even in the Empire. Night deepened. Zeyla waited until he went inside. She moved closer, fast and silent. Her eyes scanned the inside of his home through the window. Bookshelves, a small kitchen, an old radio, and then something on the wall. Her breath caught. There, hanging above his desk, was a faded photo, a picture of a tall silver mountain with twin moons behind it. Zeyla's heart beat fast. That place was her homeworld, a planet destroyed in the war, a secret world. No human should know it even existed. She froze. How did he get that picture? Why was it on his wall? Her training told her to kill now. No. Questions, no doubt. But her heart hesitated for the first time in years. She backed away slowly, disappearing into the woods. She didn't sleep that night. She sat on a tree branch thinking, watching. The next morning, Daniel walked out again. He looked around like he felt something. He raised his voice and spoke into the trees, smiling. "I know you're there," he said softly. "Would you like some tea?" Zeyla's hand gripped her blade. He couldn't see her, couldn't, but he knew. Her orders were simple. Kill him. Return. No contact. But now, everything felt different. How did he know she was here? How did he know her planet? She wanted answers. That night, she entered his cabin while he was gone, likely collecting firewood. She moved fast, scanned everything, took data from his computer. She stepped up to the photo. Her fingers brushed the surface. It wasn't fake. It was real. Old, printed on Zeravian silver paper, impossible. Then she heard the door open. She spun around, drawing her blade, but Daniel just stood there, calm, holding 2 cups of tea. "I thought you might come in," he said. "You have questions. So do I." Zeyla didn't speak. She stayed in her battle stance, but Daniel didn't flinch. He placed 1 cup on the table. He looked into her eyes and said words she had never expected to hear from a human. "Your name is Zeyla of Korith. I met your mother once during the Firefall War." Zeyla's world shook. How did he know that name? Her blade trembled. Her mission had just changed. Forever. The photograph that shouldn't exist, Zeyla didn't blink. The blade in her hand felt heavy now, not because of its weight, but because of the truth. The human had spoken her real name, a name never recorded in the Empire's files, a name only her mother used, before she died in the flames of a forgotten war. "Who are you?" Zeyla finally asked, her voice low and sharp. Daniel didn't answer with words. Instead, he reached into a wooden drawer and pulled out a small glowing object wrapped in old cloth. He placed it on the table between them, then unwrapped it slowly. It was a pendant, circular, engraved with the crest of Korith's royal houses. Zeyla stepped back, breath caught in her throat. That pendant had belonged to her mother. "I buried her on the cliffs of Celerin Ridge," Daniel said softly. "She died saving my life." Zeyla stared at the human like he was a ghost from her past. Her blade lowered slightly, but her heart beat faster than ever. This man was not just her target. He was part of her bloodline's hidden story. Later that night, Zeyla sat alone on a tree branch far from the cabin. She didn't sleep. She couldn't. The Empire had sent her to kill him, told her he was a threat, a criminal. But he had her, mother's pendant. He spoke her native tongue. He had a photo of her home, a world the Empire claimed was erased. Something was very wrong. She replayed Daniel's words over and over in her mind. "Your mother saved me from the fire squads. She told me to remember who you were and when the time came." Zeyla's fingers closed tightly around the pendant now hanging from her own neck. Her orders felt like poison in her veins. The next morning, she followed Daniel into the town's small market hidden under her cloaking field. He walked like a peaceful man, waved to a few locals, bought vegetables, helped an old woman carry water. No weapons, no guards, no violence. Zeyla watched him, speak to the butcher in a dialect only spoken by exiled Vornaxians. Later he read a book written in the dead language of Relamore, the ancient warriors of her kind. She realized something terrifying. This man was more connected to alien worlds than any human she'd ever seen. Why would the Empire want him dead? Unless he knew something they wanted to keep buried. That night she returned to his cabin again. This time she didn't sneak. Daniel was waiting by the fire, already preparing tea for two. He smiled, like he'd known she would come back. "I'm not your enemy, Zeyla," he said gently, "but I know you were sent to kill me. I'm glad." "You hesitated." Zeyla sat down, blade still by her side. "Why me? Why now? What did my mother tell you?" Daniel's face darkened. "She told me a secret, about a weapon, about you, and about the Empire's true face." He handed her a sealed chip. "This is her last memory file. She asked me to give it to you, only when you came for my life." Zeyla took the chip with trembling hands. She inserted it into her wristband. A glowing image appeared. Her mother, younger, strong, alive. "Zeyla, if you are seeing this, then the Empire has poisoned your heart. But you are more than an assassin. You are the last heir of Korith. And he, Daniel Rook, is the key to your freedom." Zeyla's throat tightened. This was no mission. This was a test of truth. Outside, hidden eyes blinked in the night. A distant camera zoomed in. A silent signal was sent across the stars. Another assassin had just been activated. But this one was not like Zeyla. He wouldn't hesitate. The man who speaks alien tongues. He stood in the center of the forest, eyes closed, lips moving slowly. Zeyla watched from the shadows, hidden high in a tree, heart pounding. Daniel was speaking, not to himself, but in Threxan, an ancient alien tongue spoken only by war priests of a race extinct for 500 years. Each word rolled off his tongue like he was born with it, fluent, perfect. Zeyla gripped the tree branch tightly. Even she barely understood that language. It had taken her 10 years to learn it, but he was chanting it. The trees seemed to quiet around him. Even the wind stopped. Then he switched languages, fluidly. Katar, Rumdos Velian. Now. He spoke in Valyrics, a dialect used only by royal advisors in pre-collapse empires. Zeyla's eyes widened. No human should speak these languages, not even one. And yet, here he was, calmly reciting lost words as if remembering an old song. She had followed him this morning, not to kill him, but to understand what he really was. Now she wasn't sure if she was the hunter or the student. Daniel suddenly turned his head. "I know you're there, Zeyla," he said without looking. Zeyla dropped silently to the ground. "How do you know these words?" He finally looked at her, a small smile forming. "Because I was taught by the last ones who still remembered." She stepped closer, her cloak flickering off. "You're human. They wouldn't teach an outsider." "They didn't," Daniel said. "But your mother did, and others who trusted her." Zeyla frowned. "Why you? Why not another assassin? Why give all this to a human?" Daniel's face turned serious. "Because I never fought for an empire. I fought for people, for those your empire tried to erase." He led her into his cabin again. This time she followed without tension in her shoulders. He opened a locked trunk at the back of the room. Inside were data scrolls, relics, and weapons, not human-made. Some were thousands of years old. Some belonged to races even Zeyla had only heard of in war tales. Daniel carefully lifted a rolled-up scroll. "This is the original peace treaty between the 12 systems, before the Empire broke it." Zeyla took a step back. This document was thought destroyed in the Great Firefall. People had died just searching for its location. Now it lay in this man's house. "You have proof of crimes against the galaxy," she whispered. "Why hide it?" "Because truth," Daniel said, "means nothing unless someone brave stands up for it." "I was waiting for you." Zeyla's voice cracked. "You knew I was coming to kill you?" "I hoped you would remember who you are before it was too late." The air outside suddenly shifted. The forest birds stopped chirping. Zeyla felt it too, the silence before a storm. She looked at Daniel. "They know." He nodded slowly. "We don't have much time." "Then teach me," she said. "Everything you know." Daniel met her gaze. "It will cost you your life as an assassin." "I lost that the moment I saw that photo," she whispered. He reached out and touched her shoulder gently. "Then let's begin. The galaxy will soon remember the name of Zeyla, not as a killer, but as a light in the darkness." Far above, the clouds, a sleek ship broke through orbit. Inside sat another assassin, dressed in crimson armor, eyes glowing with purpose. He read the new orders. "Target has corrupted assassin Zeyla. Eliminate both. No survivors." He smiled. "This will be fun." "Bloodlines and betrayals." The message came as a whisper through the neural link. "Assassin Zeyla has gone dark. Target Daniel Rook remains active. Permission granted, lethal force. No recovery needed." Inside the black dropship, the second assassin, Commander Vex Talor, opened his eyes. His crimson armor clicked as he stood. His claws flexed. Unlike Zeyla, he didn't ask questions. He didn't feel. He only erased. This wasn't a mission. It was a cleansing, and he would not fail. Down on Earth, Zeyla held a forgotten blade in her hands. It was shaped like a crescent moon, edges glowing faintly with old energy. Daniel had just given it to her. "This is your mother's," he said. "She told me to keep it safe until you chose your own path." Zeyla's fingers trembled. She remembered this blade. It used to hang in her home as a child. She thought it had melted in the firestorm, but it had survived. Like her. "Why did she trust you?" she asked. Daniel looked into the distance. "Because I bled beside her. I saw the truth behind the Empire's lies, and I refused to become a tool." Zeyla sat down beside him. "I was made to be a tool." "No," Daniel said. You were trained to forget who you are. That doesn't mean you can't remember. She stared at the fire. My bloodline. It was royalty. We ruled Korith before the Empire wiped us out. Daniel nodded. You are the last. Zeyla clenched the blade. Then why do I still feel like the enemy? Because that's how they control you. Suddenly the fire cracked loudly. Zeyla stood up fast, her eyes sharp. Someone's here. Daniel rose too. I know that silence. It means we're not alone anymore. They ran toward the edge of the forest. Zeyla activated her vision scan, detecting a heat trail from the north. Heavy footsteps. Armor. No attempt to hide. That's Vex Talor, she whispered. He's the Empire's finisher. He doesn't leave witnesses. Daniel's face turned grim. Then it's already begun. In a clearing, Vex stood tall. He looked around slowly. I know you're close, Zeyla, he said, voice echoing. Still hiding behind your target? Or have you fallen completely? Zeyla stepped out, blade drawn. This man is not the enemy. Vex smiled cruelly. No, you are. Now. He lunged forward, lightning fast. Zeyla blocked the first strike, sparks flying. Daniel leapt aside, drawing a small alien weapon from his belt. Vex moved like a machine, every strike heavy and calculated. Zeyla struggled to keep up. You were our best, Vex growled. Now you're just broken. Zeyla gritted her teeth. No, now I'm free. The fight shook the trees. Birds flew in panic. Old roots cracked beneath their boots. Daniel shot bursts of light at Vex, but his armor deflected them. Zeyla and Vex clashed again. This time she used her mother's blade. It hummed with ancestral power. Each hit felt stronger, faster. Then, Zeyla slipped. Vex knocked her to the ground. He raised his weapon. Daniel shouted and jumped in front of her. Vex struck. There was a flash of light, and then silence. When the smoke cleared, Vex stumbled back. His armor was cracked at the chest. Daniel stood, bleeding but alive. The pendant around his neck glowed bright. Zeyla stood too, now burning with energy. You hurt the wrong people, she said coldly. She drove the blade into Vex's side. He roared and vanished in a teleport flash, retreating, but his final words echoed, The Empire will come, and it won't stop with me. As the stars above shimmered once more, Zeyla looked at Daniel. He'll return with more. I know, he said, and so will others. That's why we have to run. No, Zeyla said quietly. Not run. Prepare. The second assassin. They thought they had survived the worst, but the real storm hadn't even begun. Zeyla stood on the cabin roof at midnight, blade on her back, watching the stars shift. Her skin tingled, not from the cool wind, but from a deep warning in her blood. Below her, Daniel packed supplies, hands calm, eyes focused. He wasn't afraid, but he wasn't relaxed either. I can feel it, she said quietly. Something darker is coming. He looked up at her. They wouldn't send Vex alone. They'll send something worse now. Zeyla nodded. The Empire doesn't like to repeat mistakes. This time they'll send a shadow. Far above Earth's orbit, deep in black space, a stealth cruiser shimmered into existence. It had no name, no call sign, not even a registry. It was known only by the assassins who feared it. Inside its frozen core sat a figure, female, motionless, pale eyes closed in cryosleep. Her name was Nira Talon. She was not just an assassin, she was a myth, trained for infiltration, mind hacks, and emotion-triggered kills. Where Vex used brute force, Nira used silence, and she never missed. Her pod hissed open. She exhaled for the first time in years. Back on Earth, Daniel and Zeyla entered a hidden cave network deep under the forest. Daniel had prepared it years ago, never knowing why. Only that he might need it someday. Now he did. Inside, ancient alien symbols lined the walls. Lights hummed without wires. The place felt like it was waiting for her. Zeyla stepped to the center of the room and touched an old relic. A projection appeared. Her mother again. This message was different. My daughter, if you are seeing this, then your final test has begun. You are not just the heir of Korith, you are its weapon, but you must choose what kind of weapon you will be. Zeyla closed her eyes, heart pounding. For the first time, she wasn't afraid of her bloodline. She wanted to honor it. Outside, something slithered through the trees, almost unseen. Nira had arrived. She walked barefoot through the leaves. No armor, no sound. Her body moved like smoke. She reached the cabin. Her eyes narrowed. One human. One traitor. This will be quick. She raised her hand, fingers glowing with a strange light. A memory burn. In the cave, Daniel dropped to one knee, suddenly gripping his head. He gasped as images, not his own, flashed through his mind. Zeyla rushed to him. What's wrong? She's here, he whispered. She's in my mind. Zeyla froze. Only one assassin could do that. Nira Talon, she breathed. She's inside my memories, looking for weak spots. Zeyla held him close. You have to fight her. Don't let her find your past. But it was too late. Nira now knew everything. The pendant, the photos, the scrolls. She smiled in the dark. He carries the key, so I will take him alive. Suddenly, the lights in the cave blinked. Zeyla turned toward the entrance. Footsteps. Soft. Bare. Slow. She stood and faced the dark hallway. You've come far, said a soft voice from the shadows. But this ends here. Zeyla didn't reply. She just lifted her mother's blade. You're not the first assassin I've killed. Nira stepped into the light. She was beautiful, calm, terrifying. I'm not like the others, she whispered. I kill from the inside. The two women clashed, not with strength but with will. Zeyla's memories began to burn. Pain rushed through her brain. Nira smiled, trying to break her mind from within. But Zeyla focused on one thing, Daniel's voice, his words, his trust, his belief in her. That belief became armor. Zeyla roared and pushed back, throwing Nira out of her head. The shockwave knocked both of them down. Daniel helped Zeyla up. Are you all right? She nodded. She won't get in again. Nira stood too, eyes wide, lips trembling. You blocked me? Zeyla pointed her blade. You don't know me. Nira vanished in a teleport flash, but her message remained. In the air. You are not free. The Empire is coming, and they will burn this world to ashes just to silence one human and a traitor. Zeyla turned to Daniel. We need help. He nodded. Then we'll go to the last place the Empire fears. Where's that? Daniel smiled. To the stars. Hunted across the stars were no longer beautiful. Not when you were being hunted across them. Zeyla sat by the window of the small starship, staring at the glowing trail they left behind. Once she dreamed of flying freely between systems. Now every jump could be her last. Behind her, Daniel adjusted the controls, guiding the ship through a narrow asteroid belt. His face was calm, but the tension in his shoulders betrayed him. They're still following us, he said quietly. How many? Zeyla asked. Daniel didn't look back. 3 Empire ships, tracking us by scent signatures. They won't stop. Zeyla's grip tightened on the metal railing. They want you. No, Daniel said. They want you broken and me dead. They had jumped through 6 sectors in 2 days. Zeyla had contacted old rebel networks, most of which were destroyed or scattered. Only one name still gave hope. Vorn Station. A forgotten outpost hidden inside a dead moon. It was once the meeting place of the 12 free races before the Empire rose. But reaching it meant passing through Graveline Sector, a lawless zone filled with debris, pirate ships, and forgotten weapons drifting like ghosts. As they neared it, the stars darkened. The ship's lights flickered. We'll make it, Daniel said. I've done this run before. Zeyla looked at him. You've been to Vorn? Daniel didn't answer at first. Then he said, I helped build it. As the ship slipped into graveline space, everything changed. Wreckage drifted like frozen corpses. Giant satellite pieces floated silently. Long dead warships hung in silence, guns rusted, hulls torn. It was a graveyard. Zeyla looked around carefully. So much death, Daniel replied softly, and yet, still more life than the Empire gives. Suddenly, the alarm blared. 2 ships behind us, cloaked. They've found us. Zeyla jumped into the co-pilot seat. We can't fight them. We're not going to, Daniel said, flipping a switch. We're going to lose them. He pulled the ship into a tight turn, diving between massive chunks of broken metal. It felt like flying through a collapsing maze. Zeyla's stomach twisted. You're insane. I prefer creative, Daniel said, grinning. One of the enemy ships clipped a floating engine and exploded into fire. The others stayed on their tail, faster, smarter. Zeyla powered up the ship's only weapon, an old plasma turret. Daniel swerved. Zeyla fired. A bolt of blue light hit the pursuer's wing, sending it spinning. They didn't wait to confirm the kill. Daniel pushed the engines harder. Soon they reached the shadow of a broken moon. There, hidden between 2 crater ridges, was Vorn Station. It was huge, built like a fortress, carved directly into the moon's rock. It looked abandoned, until a light blinked twice from a hidden panel. Zeyla's voice trembled. That's the rebel signal. Daniel nodded. They're still alive. They landed inside a dark hangar. Dust rose as the ship touched ground. Zeyla stepped out first, blade ready. From the shadows, a dozen figures appeared. Alien rebels in patched armor, their eyes wary but alert. One of them, an old green-skinned warrior, stepped forward. I never thought I'd see your face again, Daniel Rook, he said. And you must be the assassin turned queen. Zeyla blinked. Queen? Daniel smiled. I told them who you really are. Inside Vorn Station, they met with the last council of the free races. A mix of species, each once proud, now fighting to survive. Zeyla stood before them and shared her mother's message. The pendant, the scrolls, the lies of the Empire, the Ao. Room fell silent. Then one elder rose. If what you say is true, the Empire has made a mistake. A very big one. Zeyla asked, Will you help us? The elder nodded. We will rise again, but it starts with one spark. Outside, beyond the edge of the moon, the Empire fleet began to gather. More ships. Bigger ships. This time, they came to burn everything. Inside. Vorn Station? Daniel looked at Zeyla and placed a hand on her shoulder. Ready to become more than an assassin? She looked back, her eyes glowing faintly. I'm ready to become hope. Assassin no more. They called her a ghost, a killer, a blade in the dark. But today, for the first time, Zeyla walked into the light. She stood on the command platform of Vorn Station, her mother's blade across her back, wearing armor gifted by the free races. Around her stood rebels, some old, some young, all broken by war but unbowed in spirit. Above them, the Empire's fleet had arrived. Hundreds of ships. The sky itself burned. Daniel adjusted the station's ancient defense grid. His voice echoed through the hall. They're charging their main cannon. We have less than 7 minutes. Zeyla turned to the rebel council. We don't run this time. We show them the truth. The elder nodded. You carry more than a weapon, child. You carry a legacy. As alarms wailed and lights turned red, rebel fighters rushed to their stations. Vorn Station had old weapons but strong hearts. Daniel connected his neural link to the tower's command, sending out a pulse signal across all systems. Suddenly, dozens of hidden ships, old allies, old smugglers, hidden cells, answered the why. Call. Zeyla watched as vessels blinked into orbit surrounding the Empire's armada. Look, Daniel whispered. You're not alone anymore. Inside the lead Empire warship, Commander Vex Talor stood beside Nira Talon, both fully armored, watching Vorn Station on the screen. She didn't run, Nira said, surprised. She remembers who she is now, Vex growled. But it's too late. Back in the station, Zeyla took a deep breath and opened a final message from her mother. My daughter, we were once protectors, not murderers. Our blades were meant to defend the weak. Today, you can finish what I never could. Restore honor to our name. She closed the message. No tears. Only fire in her heart. The battle began. Empire ships fired first, massive red beams crashing against the rebel shield. Vorn Station shook like a wounded beast. Zeyla and Daniel led the counterstrike. Fighter ships launched. Old cannons lit up after years of silence. Explosions filled the black sky. But the Empire had more power, more numbers, and less mercy. Soon, the shields of Vorn Station began to break. Daniel shouted, "One more hit and the core will fail." Zeyla grabbed his hand. "There's one way." He looked into her eyes. "You can't." "I must." She stepped into the teleport chamber. Using ancient coordinates only her bloodline could activate, she locked onto the flagship, where Vex and Nira waited. Before Daniel could stop her, she vanished in a beam of light. Inside the Empire flagship, alarm screamed. Then, Zeyla appeared. Nira turned, eyes wide. "You came to die?" Zeyla smiled. "No, I came to end it." The fight was fast and brutal. Blades flashed, sparks flew. Zeyla battled both elite assassins in the heart of the Empire's power. They struck her. She bled, but she did not fall. In one final move, she activated her mother's blade, unleashing a pulse of pure ancestral energy. Vex flew back, crashing into the control core. Nira screamed as her neural implants shorted out. The ship lost control. Zeyla opened the channel to Daniel. "It's done. Fire now." "No," Daniel shouted. "You're still on board." "Do it," she said softly. "For the galaxy." The rebels fired the last cannon. The flagship exploded in a silent, brilliant flash, taking the Empire's command with it. The other ships, leaderless, scattered in fear. Silence fell. The battle was over, but Zeyla was gone. Weeks later, a garden bloomed where the cabin once stood. Daniel sat on the porch staring at the stars. A small ship landed nearby. The hatch opened, and Zeyla stepped out. She limped, scarred, but alive. Daniel rushed to her. "You were supposed to die," he said, voice shaking. "I changed the coordinates last second," she whispered. "I wasn't ready to leave you." He held her tight. "You're not an assassin anymore." She smiled through tears. "No, I'm home."